Basically, the idea that triggers the book, or the scene that triggers the book, is one guy driving his car in the middle of the night, and one person appears from the woods, from the side of the road, giving him no time to stop. The guy hits him, and because he's a bit drunk, the driver basically, he panics in the moment of understanding that this person dies in his arms. This person looks like he's hiding or escaping from someone, but this guy, let's say our character, doesn't even stop to think about that. He takes his car, runs away. 2 hours later, in the middle of the night, he regrets about everything. He can't sleep. He realizes he made something really wrong. He comes back to the same spot in the road where the accident happened, and there is no trace of any accident happened there. No signs of blood, anything. It happens that this guy is a rock star. Is a rock star, not now. He was a rock star 10 years ago, and he's going through, let's say, bad times in his life, creatively, personally. And he has a background of being a kind of quite paranoid, inventive, imaginative person. So when he tells this story to his best friend that lives, is his neighbor also, his best friend, who is actually the narrator of the story, the first reaction of his friend is not believing on his mate. And the whole game of the book starts like this. It's like the story gets transmitted from one person that says something happened to another person that at the beginning doesn't believe. But then slowly during the book, this other person, the narrator, Bert, who's a writer that lives there also, he will start finding evidences that are a bit ambiguous. It's never something exact or solid. There is not a fact. But he starts finding a lot of evidences that the story of his friend can be true. And basically this is what the story is about. This is the game that I present to the readers. Yeah, well, it's something that I wanted to play with at some stage in my life, like my creative life. This image of a rock and roll star living in his kind of big house, recording in the basement. I was very influenced, and any rock and roll fan will remember the story of the Rolling Stones recording in the south of France, Aix-en-Main Street. So I had this image of Keith Richards playing the guitar, recording in his basement, and I loved that idea. So basically I created my character, Chax, to be exactly that, a guy that lives in La Provence, that has a basement, recording studio. He's building up his career again. So for me, it's very important. The rock and roll is, I almost play the role of a DJ during the book, because I'm putting a lot of music in the car, in the house. The daughter of the narrator is a girl, Brittany, that plays in a rock band also. She wants to become a rock star. So here is the connection between Brittany and Chuck. Even if their parents don't like this connection to happen, for some stories from the past, they end up connecting because they are like souls, twin souls, how do you say that? So basically the rock and roll and the rock and roll dreams, the rock and roll legends, the rock and roll dark places also, the bad things of rock and roll, are ingredients that are all over the story. So I think it's very important, and I was really listening to a lot of music, enjoying the moment. For example, just a little detail, many parts of the personality of Chuck are based on Brian Wilson, and the story of Brian Wilson, the story of isolation, paranoia, fantasy that Brian Wilson, basically the songwriter of the Beach Boys, was exactly like, was a huge inspiration for his character. The choosing of the place was very related to what place in the world can I imagine like a good location for two things. One is a rock star moving to a very quiet place to kind of start writing a new album. And in the other hand, I have this family, Bert and Miriam and Brittany, that they live in London, but things are going very wrong in London, so they decide to move out and go to the best and more quiet place that they can imagine, which is the south of France also. So basically, this comes like a stereotype in my imagination, like the south of France, the landscapes, the small towns. It's very idyllic, looks like nothing can happen there. And the neighbors that you have, these idyllic communities of rich people, at the beginning they look like something that where nothing can really happen. And that's another reason, it's a reinforcement on the paranoia of Chuck, because basically he's kind of accusing everyone, accusing like blindly to everybody, his environment about what's going on. And this environment is saying like, look, you are crazy, you are mad. I mean, look at us, it's impossible that we are doing any bad to anyone. And I think this is basically an ingredient that is putting a lot of pressure on the novel, because the reader at the end has to decide to believe or not believe, to build up a conspiracy theory with the characters or not. So I think the scenery is very important, and also for that, because it's basically a logical place for this type of people, for this type of social class to start a new life, to do whatever relations they are doing. So yeah, it was a decision has two big motivations. I'm always trying to present two things in a book. One is a thriller story, something that will make you read until the end of the book. And I always try to find the emotional dimension of the book, like something that will make you empathize with the characters, that will you will want to defend them, you will wish them that they survive, that they basically don't get killed at the end of the day. And I think this is a very important ingredient in any book, because if you don't really feel the characters as they were your friends or your family, I don't think the book is interesting enough. So the story of the family, like the writer Miriam and the daughter moving to France, is one story that is very their situation is very important, because inside that family, this pressure about not believing and taking the normal path exists also, because Miriam, the wife, wants a normal life. She wants to transform the family life that has been a bit dark and difficult in London. She wants to make an ideal picture of the family, you know, with this type of, how do you say, cooking with the... exactly. Yeah. Like, so she has this idyllic image of the family. And when Bert, through his friend Chuck, starts talking about all these strange things happening, and the neighbors that they look very cool, but they have something to hide. Miriam is like, what are you saying? Like, it's like, don't blame my neighbors. I'm trying to accommodate. I'm trying to integrate in this new community. What the hell are you doing? So this is a very important factor of pressure in the book. And another factor is that Chuck, this friend of Bert, is a kind of brother for him. Is the only person that he's really getting well with during the story, because he's not really settling down in this new community. So they are like two friends, very close friends, that they are isolated from this whole transformation. And finally, Chuck has a very bad story that will be explained in the book, with one of the best friends of Miriam. So there is a kind of implicit tension in the character relationship with the family and the friends that gives the book another boost, because it's not only there is a guy telling fantasies about my neighbors. It's like, this guy is risking my new life, is putting my new life into a big risk. So I think everything is pointed to tension, tension, tension. The book is about that. So I think everything helps to the story.